Hi, everybody. Welcome to Am I the Asshole podcast. I'm Danny Vega here with my co-host.
What's up? Sarah Levine, in case you didn't know.
Hell yeah, and we're very excited. We have a very special guest today.
So pumped.
Huge on Instagram, Fat Carrie Bradshaw.
Thank you so much. Yes, that's right.
You got it.
So funny.
The best. AKA Chris Burns.
Thank you. That's my real name.
Yep.
Although according to Getty Images, I was very excited. I recently saw an array of images on Getty Images, but I was tagged as Carrie Fatshaw in all of them.
Please change your handle.
And I'm here for
it.
So tell the audience a little bit about who you are. And
I am Fat Carrie Bradshaw on Instagram.
Chris is Jaws' Instagram.
Literally, I'm like at this point, basically. I work as a content creator at Betches officially now.
Yay.
Okay,
But I've
great.
been doing videos with them, as you know, for a long time.
Love the videos. And in the videos, you generally play what I would describe as like a sort of a basic
Bitch. Yeah. Yeah, I would describe myself as that as well in the video.
not in real life.
Yeah, I go for that.
In the videos, it's, I guess, kind of dragish, but do you do drag in any other capacity?
So yeah, I do like drag in the videos, and I do drag for events, and also have like shows. I have a monthly show at Brooklyn every third Saturday of the month at Branded Saloon, which is just like a fun, typical drag show. And then I do shows all the time, all over.
What does that mean? A fun? What is a typical drag show?
Like, it doesn't really involve, like, it's just all like lip syncs and performances, and I host it and then do lip syncs.
So, I didn't know that.
That's
So
fun.
drag show is a lot of singing.
Fake singing, lip syncing.
Right.
So it's like literally mouthing the words to the songs, but that's like the big proponent of drag culture.
Oh my God, I feel so ignorant. I had no idea.
It's like, that's how Drag Race, when they say lip sync for your life,
Right.
it's like the end of every episode of Drag Race. That's how they decide who goes home. So like the bottom two are in the bottom, and then they have to lip sync for their life. So they have to like perform a song, but they're mouthing the words to like Miley Cyrus.
Got it.
But who knows who came up with it. But here we are.
Well, great. We got one heck of an episode for you guys today. We're going to start off with some Guess the Verdict. We're going to have Chris here guessing what the verdicts are. You ready for this?
I was born ready.
AITA for expressing relief that I don't have to work because of family wealth.
That person's an asshole.
It actually went info, which means somebody felt they didn't have enough information.
So there was one commenter.
There was a couple, but yeah, it was surprisingly people are like, I don't know. But when I read this to you, I have a feeling you guys are going to disagree. They live comfortably with a passive income from their parents.
Comfortably
Oh,
means
boy.
wealthy.
And their friend who does retail work, she went to like Europe or something, saw her friend, and then the friend started going off on her at the end of the night, and she left. She was upset because the friend called her a privileged bitch and shit.
Okay, now I feel like I do need info because I'm like, why did she call her a bitch?
Well, Peony Pegasus got the verdict, and they said info, tone, and what exactly was said matters a lot here. Quote, oh, I'm going to Australia soon. It should be fun is very different from, I'm so glad I never have to work a day in my life and likely will never need to. It's just so nice traveling all the time and living comfortably without worrying about finances.
You're right. It's hard to say.
It's a big gap.
I need info. I don't believe that anybody would do that. Nobody, even the richest person, says like, oh, it's so nice that I'm rich and I don't have to do anything. Because rich people want you to think they do things. You know?
It's true. They want to
true.
seem relatable and they don't want to talk about money because it's gauche.
Yeah. And I've had friends, I have plenty of rich friends, which is great. I'm not rich, never have been. Maybe someday, who knows? But I've had friends that have been like, I'm just sick of apologizing for my wealth. And I'm like, well, that's your burden to bear.
Yeah, you don't pay taxes,
Yeah.
so this is how you can deal. What did you think we were going to say?
I thought YTA.
I mean, I get it. If you have money and you don't have to work, then fine. But like, volunteer.
Like, I can see her being like, oh, this trip has just been so stressful. And her friend's like, oh, why? It's just like going from hotel to hotel, you know, the whole thing. Like,
Oh my
I can see her
God.
sort of betraying the fact that, like, she doesn't have any need for money. And then her friend's like, your problems are not problems, you privileged bitch.
Yeah, that's fair. I've had that conversation with people. It's been like, that's not a problem. That's like a very housewivesy. I just rewatched season 7 of the New York Housewives, so it's like on my mind. But that is like literally a conversation that they have where Bethany keeps saying she's homeless, and then at the reunion they're like, "You're not homeless," and she's like, "I'm living out of cars," and they're like, "You're living out of limousines."
Oh my God. Are you serious?
She lives in the limousine, or she's just being like, she's being driven all over.
So she has like this amazing apartment that her and her husband made together, and
Oh, is it Jason Hoppy?
yeah.
Okay.
So they get the divorce and he gets the apartment, or they break up and he gets the apartment. So she spends like 2 years remodeling her new dream apartment.
Got it.
And so she's like, I'm essentially homeless, but she's remodeling like
Oh my God.
2,500 square foot apartment in like the West Village. And so people had written in for the reunion being like, Bethany, stop saying you're homeless. You're not homeless.
Right. Do you understand? But now she's done a total 180. She apparently is flying this plane over the Amazon to like drop a bunch of water.
Yeah. I mean, she means well. I think she's just because she wasn't rich when she grew up either. But, you know, I need more info on that.
Okay, fair enough. AITA because I want my fiance to cry when he sees me.
I am 29 years old. I've never seen my father cry a day in my life. So, like, no.
You're going to say...
I'm going to say she's being crazy, but not an asshole.
Okay.
So there's no asshole, but she's wrong.
Okay.
I guess
So
I'll say.
it actually went, you're the asshole. So
Hmm.
basically this girl, this is wild, you guys. Her fiance and her met for the first time last week after a year-long distance relationship.
Okay,
Oh my
there
God.
it is. There
My
it
friend,
is.
one of my friends had a similar situation.
I mean,
Minus the
folks,
crying.
Are you you're engaged to someone you've never met? I mean, what
That's,
drugs are people using? We got to get some
that's-
because what is?
I mean, the drug is okay, Cupid.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
And dopamine.
That's plenty of fish like level there.
My best friend did 4 years long distance from New York to Scotland. And now I know.
That's so brutal.
But they had like met. He was here on vacation for a week and they met and then they just kept talking and whatever. But they didn't get engaged without having met each
I
other.
know, that's insane.
And now she's been living there for like a year.
So this girl's basic qualm was like, oh, he barely hugged me back. And when he was leaving, I began to cry. He didn't even cry again, even though we were saying goodbye for at least 3 more weeks. So Winter Soldier got the deciding comment. He says, YTA, calm down. Not everyone is you. Your expectations are not realistic.
She was mad that he didn't cry again, like he already cried and once wasn't enough.
No, he never cried.
and we're not going to see each other
Oh.
for 3 weeks.
I know, right?
Who
It's not
gives
that
a
long.
shit? 3 weeks?
You
That's not
haven't
long
met
at
in
all.
A year.
No, yeah.
No, I go like 3 weeks without texting people.
AITA for being butthurt about my husband not giving me the last bite of ice cream.
Yes. You're also an asshole for using butthurt. I've decided that I'm against that.
So basically, this person got married somewhat recently, and things were going great until
Oh, divorce.
until they were eating ice cream.
Oh my God.
So he took the last bite, and it was all gone. And so she usually gives him the last bite, but
The Amazon is burning. Get a goddamn grip. Go buy a fucking pint of ice cream. Am I allowed to be cursing on this?
yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Okay,
I do
great.
it all the time. Daddy gets mad at me. It's fine.
Well, Sarah's like, fuck you and fuck this and this fuck boy. And I'm like, all right. I feel like it loses
And-
its potency, Sarah.
Okay.
I've definitely lost the potency. I
Yeah.
accidentally was on the phone with my mom and called Ryan Seacrest a fucking F word to my mom.
Wow.
Who doesn't curse at all. Literally just like for no reason at all. She just was like, did you see American Idol was coming back? And I was in a mood. I was like, oh, Ryan Seacrest is a fucking... so I've lost its potency as well.
Were you serious about the butthurt thing though? That's kind of interesting. Is butthurt a little homophobic?
I don't know. Somebody brought it up to me and I'm like, maybe we'll just not use it. But I don't really.
That's
actually
It kind
care.
of is. I mean,
could-
I can't spin it any other way. It's not like, I mean, I guess if you have a hemorrhoid, that's not really,
Yeah.
or
I
he's
mean, I don't
sad about
actually care.
something. I don't know.
it doesn't bother you.
But it's only straight people that say it.
I just say
Ah.
salty. Like there's no reason to say butthurt.
Hey, well, salty is offensive to bagels. Okay.
What?
AITA for blocking a friend's number.
That's the whole information?
Yeah, that's it.
Then yeah.
Okay, here's a story. This guy fell off with his college friends. One girl randomly started getting into contact with him out of the blue, which is like never a good story. Then This bitch is just really needy and just kept blowing him up like all the time. She even did this weird prank call where like he FaceTimed and then her cousin was like face down in the bathtub and she was like, he's dead, just kidding. So then he like blocked her number.
Well, wait, she claimed her cousin was dead.
Yeah.
Mm,
But he was just like face down in the
Just
bathtub. And then they were all like,
joking.
just kidding. What a fun prank.
Pretty intense prank.
no, I would have also blocked that
Same.
number.
Yeah, the top comment was not the asshole. Even if you're exaggerating, that behavior is stalkerish. You tried to tell her, she didn't listen. You could have easily gotten a court order, which is debatable. But you did the right thing and blocked her.
Yeah, I would have just probably done the exact same thing.
Yeah, nobody wants to go through the effort of getting a court order.
Also, with someone like that, you're like, I don't have the time to,
No.
to like care about this.
All right. AITA for ghosting my friend who owes me money and is asking for more.
No.
Here's the story. This is supposedly this guy's good friend. He's lent him $100 in total on 2 separate occasions. The friend tried to pay him back in increments, and he was like, nah, dog, you're good. You're family. Just wait until you're financially stable. Now the friend lost his job, is asking OP for more money, and now OP is like pissed and just going to ghost him.
That's kind of asshole-ish.
To ghost, right? I
To ghost.
agreed.
Because you told him that, like, you called him family.
Right. You told him you didn't want it back. Now he wants it back. The top comment, which I don't agree with, was everyone sucks here. They said, if lending money is such an issue, then take his attempts to pay you back. He shouldn't be asking for more money every other day, though.
I feel like he obviously feels comfortable asking this person for money because he made such little deal about it.
Right.
So I don't think either person's really an asshole, but I will say blocking him was a dick move.
Well, is that what ghosting means? I thought ghosting was like, okay, you go on a date with someone and then they hit you back up to go on another date. You're just not going to say anything. There's no reason for you to ever talk again. So that's the end of the relationship. But if you ghost a friend, can't they just reach out?
Ghosting started as a dating avoidance tactic, and now it's just anytime you just ignore someone and blow them off indefinitely, you're just kind of ghosting.
Yeah.
That's ghosting? Because my
Yeah.
friend always calls and says that because he'll send me a Facebook message and I don't respond like for a week. Is that ghost? That's a soft
No.
ghost?
That's
No.
that's starting
But
to
if he
ghost.
keeps
Right.
asking you to hang out and you never respond, then yeah, you're ghosting him.
To hang out.
I mean, if you're ignoring your friend intentionally, you're ghosting him.
Right. It's just kind of a
Well, I just-
synonym of ignoring.
I'm just procrastinating responding. It's a very
Well, then the
soft
second you
ghost.
respond, you're not ghosting anymore.
Yeah. And
I don't-
and you can be like, listen, we're all depressed, you know. I respond as I can.
Right.
I have to do things. That's not ghosting.
Also, stop doing stuff on Facebook Messenger.
I don't know why.
yeah,
Everyone,
how close can you possibly be if that's how
if
you're in
on
contact?
Facebook
Messenger. All right. Well, that's Guess the Verdict. We're going to cover a couple topics today related to gay people.
Oh, great. I've heard of them.
You've heard of that? It's pretty cool. I've been looking at it. It's an interesting option out there. So our second story of the day, AITA for wanting another child. But first, AITA for telling my brothers what I honestly think of his lifestyle by you not remotely 3. My brother and I live together. In the past 2 or so years, my brother, who is a single gay guy, started going out to clubs every weekend and picking up strangers. They usually go to the other guy's place. They rarely come here, but sometimes they do. I noticed he was sleeping over at other people's places when he started showing up home all knackered on Sunday mornings. I recently asked him about it and he said, why not have fun while you're young? I said, I'm almost the same age as him and I couldn't even imagine living like that. He said that if I want him to stop bringing people over, that he would. But I said, that's not the issue. It happens rarely. And besides, my girlfriend also comes over a lot, so that doesn't have to change. But I said that generally, I don't understand how he can do this without feeling empty. To sleep with people he knows nothing about and that he feels nothing for and they feel nothing for him. He got up and said not to mention this to him again. I said I was sorry, but he said, I'm not sorry. I'm an asshole. He hasn't spoken to me since. I'm genuinely surprised and I don't understand why he cares what I think, but doesn't care about what he's doing. I think that maybe he doesn't actually feel so great about, quote, having fun while he's young, unquote, and that maybe I struck a chord. AITA.
I'm going to say that I think he is empty. So I think he does feel empty. He did strike a chord when he brought that up to him. But I mean, I have two very straight brothers. And if they said something about one time my brother like caught me smoking a joint and was like very upset with me.
Okay.
And I was like, are you fucking kidding? Because I mean, they like get blasted, wasted all the time. So like I am the one in my like family that probably has the worst lifestyle choices. But my brothers would never say anything like that to me because they don't care, I guess, or we just don't talk about stuff like that. But it does seem like the brother cares about him and that's why he's saying this. I don't know. Mind your business, I guess. But I don't think you're really an asshole. You're just trying to like make sure that your brother's like making positive.
I mean, he didn't ask.
Yeah.
Is the thing. Why are you just offering up random judgment on someone's lifestyle? Also, I mean, I just had to wonder, like, would the brother be like this if this person was like a straight guy sleeping with a bunch of women?
I think that if this was two straight guys and a straight brother, he'd be like, yeah, dude, get it. Spread that seed, dog. You know, like whatever, dog.
If I was bringing home anybody and living with my brothers, they would be like, why are you bringing strangers here?
Well, it's not even
But
the issue. Yeah, that's not the issue.
He kind of separated him out from that. He kind of gave him the out on that and says, I couldn't even imagine living like that. Oh, really, Kyle? Because I think that's pretty easy to imagine.
I will say, though, honestly, I did have an ex-boyfriend who was very like, he would judge his own family members, implicitly me, for like daring to sleep with other people they weren't monogamous with. Maybe the brother is just an asshole and not homophobic.
Yeah, I guess I just don't care who people sleep with at all unless I am interested in them, and then everything they do matters to me. But but like my brothers, I never cared if they were like, I don't know. I come from a family of very little emotion. We don't talk about it. So I guess that's why I'm having a hard time like putting this into perspective.
Where you would care that much about what someone else
Yeah.
is doing. Yeah, I agree.
To me, there's a layer of judgment to what he's saying. Like, if he really feels this way, I think it's a valid feeling. Like, if
This
you
is
catch
steeped
someone,
in judgment.
exactly. Like, if your brother or your sister or anyone in your family is sleeping around, and you're like, hey, you know, I was just wondering, like, how are you? Like, how is your intimacy? How are your relationships? Like, that's fair. But like, this feels very much like I'm judging you for what you're doing. Like this quote is really, I think, the damning quote. I couldn't even imagine living like that. It's like, that's loaded.
I guess I am just also seeing the perspective of maybe he means just like being like a slut in general,
I think that is what he means.
but not necessarily having to do with
Oh yeah, I don't think he's homophobic. I think he's just like,
judging him for being a slut.
yeah.
I guess that's pretty bad.
Gender equality, we did it.
That's
Right.
I guess I would care so little in this situation that
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time believing somebody would.
You're saying if your brother were to say something like this to you, you'd be like, whatever.
Yes. If my brother, I'd be like, what are you talking about? You don't even know me, I guess. I
and
feel
then
like,
he'd be like, Chris, I follow your Instagram. I see your tweets.
yeah, no, they don't even have Instagram. So
Oh my
that's
God.
like how far
Oh,
off we
boy.
are.
Freaks.
Which is no Instagram, no
That's
Facebook,
very
no
straight.
nothing.
Whoa.
Not having Instagram is like the straightest you can be.
Yeah, they get, even if I post something of them on Instagram, they find out like from my sister-in-law and then they'll get upset.
Do you feel like you have a thick skin because you're gay? So like, it's like if someone's like, oh, like ask you an insensitive question, you're kind of like, yeah, I've heard things 100 times worse than that. You're not going to hurt my feelings.
Yeah, I like to think that I do. I think I do. I don't know. Let's try it. Call me names. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I do think, and it also depends on my mood. Like if somebody is to say something and I'm in a mood already of feeling bad. So what I think is happening is if he really is happy in this lifestyle, he wouldn't have cared. But because he does feel a little bit empty, getting called out for it, now he's feeling really empty.
Well, yeah, and that's why I'm kind of coming for OP, because it's like, I think he was onto something, but because the way he said it was offensive and showed no empathy and showed really
Yeah.
no effort to communicate effectively, his brother shut down and was like, fuck off.
You guys have never felt some type of way about someone like insulting you, even if you didn't think that their insult was true?
No, of course I have. Yes.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying, is that I think that he is feeling some type of way because he thinks it's true.
But I'm saying you've never had someone like insult you and you're just a little bit upset because they came at you and they're judging you, even if you don't agree with what they're saying.
No,
Oh.
I don't really think that's possible,
Yeah, I
to
guess
be honest.
That's never
I think
possible.
that, no,
No.
that's possible.
I think insults really, I mean, obviously if they're filled with hate, I mean, obviously if someone can say something that's mean, but like, I think if it's completely baseless, like if someone like comes up to me and be like, oh, you know, you're a fucking blue collar idiot, I would be like, okay, like I'm not though. Like that wouldn't hurt my feelings at all.
It
You
would
wouldn't think that person was being an asshole?
Yeah, no, I would think they're being an asshole, but you said hurt.
like if
I mean,
Sarah
if it's
was
your
like,
brother, I
yeah.
think you could be like, dude, why are you coming for me?
Yeah,
and you
I
could
would
be
be-
like
But
pissed about
I
it.
thought you were trying to claim that if I think
I think you guys are reading too much into this and like perhaps projecting
yeah,
about him as feeling empty about sleeping with other people. It's like if my brother called me fat, I would be like mad, even though I don't think that. And then I would be mad that he would say that about me,
yeah.
even though I don't think that I'm fat.
okay, but the reason it would hurt to be called fat is because there's a layer like I'm saying with the slur thing is like, yeah, but the reason it would hurt to be called fat is because you are conscious about your weight. So there is a layer of truth there. Like,
But what's the truth?
the truth is that you have to be conscious of your weight and that women are judged by an unfair standard. Like that's
Okay.
still alluding to that. That's why it's a sensitive topic.
If like my brother was to tell me like you're a slut and I'm not, and I know I'm not, I would be mad. I would just be like frustrated and like, no, I'm not. Like I'm actually
At
not.
the disrespect.
Literally, one time in middle school, this girl called me a slut, and I was like, I've literally never even kissed a guy, but I was still upset.
Yeah, because you don't want people thinking that and that people are saying it. I would be upset if somebody like genuinely called me a slut and was like disgusted with it because they'd be like, no, like I really am not. And
Right.
you just are not.
And then it's like so condescending to assume that you know better than someone else about how to live their life. I would be pissed about that too.
So I think what that generalizes to, it's like, it's judgmental. That's what it is.
Exactly. It's judgmental. It's like, oh, my lifestyle is better than yours for reasons
Right.
because it's my
Right.
lifestyle. It's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think well you were saying frustration, and I think that is what comes up because if you get judged and then someone calls you like a slut, then you're like, well, no, I am not a slut.
Yeah.
So there can be zero truth to it, and then you feel like it's kind of like the insult hurts for a different reason.
He should have broached the situation better.
I think there's a limit to what you're saying, Sarah, but there is truth to it. It doesn't have to be true to hurt, but like I said, there's
Yeah.
certain insults that will just not land at all. Like if you say something crazy, like, you know, your dog is a piece of shit. You're like, I don't have a dog, so that
I
doesn't hurt my
mean,
feelings.
Right. But then you wouldn't just randomly insult someone on something that you know does not apply to them at all.
Right,
Like I
right,
wouldn't be like,
right.
Danny, your blonde hair is so ugly when I'm looking
I
at
love
you.
my blonde hair. Do not
beautiful.
insult my hypothetical blonde hair.
I will say, yeah, they need to just like make amends on that shit.
Kitty say squawk, getting the top comment here on Reddit, says different people like different things. He likes to fuck different guys. You like to stick your nose where it doesn't belong. YTA.
I love that.
I think that's going a little far for me in the sense of like, I don't think it's wrong for a brother to have concern. I'm just disconcerted by the way this guy approached it. Like, I don't really like, oh, it's none your business. I don't like none your business talk. Like, it's your brother. Like, it is your business. Like, you should care about your brother and his lifestyle choices. But there's a way to broach that is not judgmental, but is inquisitive.
Yeah, I will agree that I think none your business talk kind of goes out of the window with certain relationships.
That seems fair.
Like with like brothers or like my closest friends, I'll be like, it is my business. You're hurting yourself in this way.
Right.
But maybe he's, who knows? Like, I need more details to really say something, but I think they need to get over it.
I think the brother needs to apologize first, and then the other brother can be like, yeah, dude, it's cool. I'm sorry for meh.
Well, yeah, he has to build his trust back too, because
Yeah.
it's like, oh, you want me? Because essentially, that's where this conversation has to go. It's like, oh, you want me to confide in you about how my intimacy is going? Well, you just judge the shit out of me, which is the exact opposite of the
True.
person I'm going to confide in.
But they're roommates, so they must be at some level of close.
Really? Oh, I've had roommates that I haven't.
But
So
your
you were
brother-
blood
entire
related
time.
to?
No, of course.
yeah,
but what
you're
I'm
right.
saying is to like be blood related to your
You would
roommate.
think, yeah.
Is there's something going on that you
Yeah.
let them live there.
Roommates can really pull people apart, though. I feel like I moved in with my best friend and ended up like pulling us apart more than anything.
Yeah, but you weren't like I lived with my brothers my whole life. So for me to be like, okay, let's move in together again, I know what I'm getting myself into.
Mhm.
Right. Well, because you got the whole base of being raised together,
Yeah.
et cetera. Yeah. Really good comment here by JJAEKKAK.
Wow, that's annoying. You're the asshole for that
Yeah,
username.
that's easy.
Fair enough. You grew up with millions of examples of straight relationships and straight romance. Every damn movie you watch had straight people finding each other and falling in love. You grew up with all voices indicating that your future relationships were valid. You grew up knowing that if you hold your partner's hand in public, nothing bad is going to happen to you. What do you think it is like to grow up knowing that the relationships you are drawn to are relationships that can't be legally recognized as marriage?
I mean, they can be legally recognized as marriage.
This comment was written in like 2004.
Oh.
Yeah, this is a really
I'm
old
joking.
thread.
Oh.
Well,
I'm
no,
joking.
I mean,
but
and that's not true. I mean, that's not true everywhere. There's English-speaking countries where I think gay marriage is
That's
limited.
fair,
It's
that's
limited
fair.
in many states.
I'm
You just-
assuming it's, yeah.
we're in New York, so it's, but it's shittier elsewhere.
I agree with that, of course, that like I find myself frustrated with my parents or my brothers to be like, you don't understand my point of view on almost anything.
Right.
And like, I think to this day, I'm the only gay person that my brothers or my parents know, or
No?
that they like knowledgeably know.
Wow.
So like, I get that and I think that's also where it comes from, is that they don't know how to deal with it. So it's like they're doing their best. I don't know. It's one time when I came out and it was like a hard time. Someone was like, you had your whole life to deal with coming out. Like your parents only had since the day you told them, which is,
what?
I don't know. I try to give the benefit of the doubt, but
Wait, you lost me with that. You had your whole, you mean a straight
like
person?
I spent like 21 years like coming to terms with being
Got it.
gay and then finally coming out. But like when I came out was the first time my parents like.
So they were kind of justifying, I'm assuming their reaction was like less than stellar, and that's how this friend, like, or whoever kind of defended your parents.
Yeah. I mean, they like we just never spoke about it again. And to this day, we've spoken about it like a couple of times.
They weren't able to celebrate it.
But the thing is, we were never like an emotional family to begin with. So it's not like my brothers were like bringing home girls all the time. So I get that, where like this guy hasn't seen or been around any relationships other than what you're seeing on TV.
Is this person kind of implying that that's what's driving this brother to like sleep around, is because like he hasn't had gay relationships modeled for him? I'm just not really like,
No,
I don't really understand
I-
what this person's like saying.
I edited this comment because it was like 4 paragraphs. But this is just sort of like addressing the fact that OP, did not show a lot of empathy. And it's like, look, Chris, you can correct me if I'm wrong or if this is bigoted, but I think a lot of straight men are jealous of gay men because they have the perception that gay men are very promiscuous. And I've read like, what's that, Savage Love?
That makes you guys jealous?
Yeah,
That is
that's ridiculous.
wild. What?
That straight men are jealous of
That
the promiscuity and the
is that a real thing?
yeah, well, straight men are always like, whoa, I wish I was gay. It would be fun. Like, that's...
I've literally never heard that before.
I mean, I don't think the straight men you would hang with would say that. It's like a very common, like, hacky premise of like, I wish I was gay because then I wouldn't have to deal with girls and I could hook up and... brr."
Yeah, when someone says that, I want to smack them in the
Oh.
jaw.
Yeah, it's totally worth the like oppression.
It's
Yeah,
I'm like
right,
I'm
right.
like, yeah, do you wish that? And no, it's not, whatever. I'm like, as like a non-promiscuous gay person, that also I'm like, that reputation has been something that's like difficult for me, because I'm like, I don't live my life like that. And that is true that a lot of gay guys do. I mean, most gay guys that I know are like that, and not being like that, I feel like I'm like the crazy one, because I'm like, no, I wish I was like married.
So I think what's interesting about what you said about, your family being unemotional, because like I had a friend, I've had a couple friends come out, but like, what is a proper reaction? I mean, it's supposed to be like a congratulations and a happiness moment, right? Like, 'cause I think a lot of bigotry, it can come from like people not knowing what to do, and then we kind of assume the worst, like I mean, I'll admit that like if I meet a trans person, I'm uncomfortable because I'm scared I'm gonna like misgender them or fuck up, and it's sort of like, I think part of it is like not knowing which way to go. So like if my friend comes out to me, what is a correct reaction?
I feel like it depends on the person. Like for me, I don't know. Also, it's kind of like rock in a hard place. There's really no, just sit there and listen and be like, I'm sorry you've been dealing with this, and let me know what I can do.
So coming out parties aren't a thing, really.
I mean, I didn't have one.
One of the Reddit things I think was about a coming out party, but it was like, oh my God, this shit was wild. It was the straight girl wanted to have a coming out party because all of her friends had coming out parties.
My God.
And then she wanted to signify that like, it doesn't matter like what your identity is and blah, blah, blah. And
Ugh.
everyone just fucking slammed her. Like, it was so fun to watch.
Well deserved.
That is so pathetic. It's
So
like an
obnoxious.
individual version of a straight pride parade. So
That's exactly what it was.
Me, you know?
And it was like, oh, well, you know, like being straight or gay or whatever shouldn't be a big deal. And it's like, it shouldn't, but it is for so many
Yeah.
people who have to deal with bigotry, and you're not one of them.
Right.
Yeah, that was a fun.
I kind of feel like
thread.
Sarah and I are harsher on straight people than you.
I
Well,
feel
look,
like
I have to date them, so
I feel like I've grown to be more forgiving.
Okay.
Because I've like watched my brothers like grow into not, and my brothers were never bad about it. It's just we never really. I came out twice, so like I had
what?
I like full on came out, and then we never spoke about it again. And then 4 years later, I was living in the city, and I got a text from my mom being like, "Do you have something to tell us?" And I was like, "No."
Because you'd already come out.
Like literally, I was like, "No, what are you talking about?" And she was like, "Your cousin," so my cousin and my younger brother are like best friends, and she was like, "Your cousin said you put something on Facebook," and then in quotes put what I had put on Facebook, which was
oh, no.
the best part about being gay is the white wine spritzers. And I was like, "Yeah, what are you talking about?" And she's like, "Oh, I just didn't know that like it was finalized." And I was like,
What?
She's like, "You're a spritzer guy?"
and I was like,
What is going
"Oh,
on?"
Yeah, your mom raised you
yeah."
on red wine, Chris. How
It
could
was-
you betray her like that?
And it took like my sister-in-law. So like my brother got married a couple years ago, but they've been together forever, and she's like amazing. And we were all like drunk one night after the election, and I was like drunk and very upset and like yelling things. And my sister-in-law was like, "You don't understand that like he doesn't live the same life as you do, and you don't understand like whatever."
I love it.
And so since then, it's been like a steady growing.
Why? So was your mom in denial? Is that what that was?
I don't even know. I think they just are like, they don't know how to like protect me in that kind of thing. They like, nobody wants their kid's life to be harder, I guess.
That makes sense. I'm just like, I can't get over this. I'm like, did your mom just like forget?
Yeah.
Literally, I'm just like, Mom, or you told her when you
yeah.
guys were all blackout.
No, that wasn't like she does not really drink. But it's fine now. Everything's good now. But it was just, even then, it was kids get like fucking thrown on the street for the rest of their life. So I was lucky. Yeah, I don't know. These two just need to like get over it.
Overall, AITA for telling my brother what I honestly think of his lifestyle. I say YTA because of how he did it. You're saying no assholes here, Chris?
I think I'm going to say no assholes here.
That's fair.
I'm gonna go with YTA now that I remembered who's who in this scenario.
Well, that's a draw.
Mm.
Oh, Chris has to defend the straights.
You know me. Straight pride. Just kidding.
All right, we're going to do a little round of go off to break it up a bit. Chris, what is the topic you're going to go off about?
Being in people's weddings.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so here's the thing about being in people's weddings. I'm very honored that I've been asked to be in your wedding, but I'm the one that's like poor and living in New York by myself. I mean, with roommates, but you know what I mean? And these people are like living in beautiful one bedrooms upstate and all over the place and getting married, and I'm expected to literally spend thousands of dollars for their happiness.
Go off.
And I can't. Registries and gifts and like, okay, it's going to be $300 to go to Ocean City. No, I'm sick of, I was a bridesmaid 9 times.
Oh my
Go
God.
off. That's so many.
It's so many times. I'm in so much debt from being in bachelorette parties and also being like the token homo in all of these weddings.
Go off.
It's always like a fun way to see how they're gonna deal with me. And so I have like one friend that's like, no, just walk down the aisle holding the flowers, do whatever you want. She was the most like respectful, and she got divorced 8 months after the
Oh,
wedding.
no. You should get a refund.
Everyone else, they're like, okay, well, you're a bridesmaid, but you're gonna stand on this side and you're gonna get ready with the guys. I'm like, no, I don't want to get ready with the fucking guys.
Go off.
I don't fucking know these guys, and I have to now spend the whole day pretending to drink cognac and enjoying it. it and
Go
then
off.
like sitting in the limo with them
Go off.
while they're also uncomfortable and don't know what to do with me. I'm done with it. If I'm in your wedding, I want to be the officiant and that's it.
Go off.
Oh, I love that.
Because that's the star. I wanted to be the officiant for my brother's wedding, and my mom was like, no, absolutely not. You will just make a joke out of it, drink Prosecco, and dress like a priest. And I was like, 100% that is what I would do. So that is my fucking rant. If I'm in your wedding, Venmo me and also make me the officiant, and you're not getting a gift.
Beautiful. AITA for wanting another child. By you, I want another kid. When my wife and I got married, we agreed that we would have 2 kids, unless both were girls. Then we'd have a third to try for a boy.
Oh, here we go.
I'm a guy's guy, and I grew up with only brothers, so I feel strongly that I want a son to bond with. That's not to say that I don't love my daughter equally. I just want to raise someone to follow in my footsteps with sports and girls and stuff. After some convincing, my wife agreed to this but said that if the third kid was a girl, we'd stop trying. Anyway, we ended up having 1 boy, 8 years old, and 1 girl, 5 years old. This background is important because you need to know that having a third kid was something that was on the table. Last month, our son told us that he likes boys. This is totally fine. I'm not a homophobe, but I'm starting to feel like I want to have a third kid so we can try to have a straight boy. I love my son more than anything, and I wouldn't love a straight kid more than him, but at the end of the day, I wanted to be able to bond with one of my kids over traditional masculine stuff, which includes women. My wife doesn't think this is a good reason to have a third kid. She said that she would be open to having a third kid, but that she finds my reasoning disgusting, and she doesn't think she can go through with it knowing the reason for me wanting one. I don't think she understands how special it is for a father to have a son who can follow in his footsteps. Am I the asshole or is she overreacting?
Danny, you're a straight guy.
Yeah, sort of.
How many times has your dad been like, yeah, girls and pussy and chicks and blah with you?
Never.
I rest my
Yeah,
case.
You're a fucking asshole, is what I'm going to say.
Yeah, and my dad also, I'm pretty proud of him because he's like pretty Republican because he's Cuban. That's how Cubans are. But like, I remember one time when I was a kid, I said like, that's gay. My dad, it was like top 10 most angry moments. He's like,
Whoa.
you're never
Bless
going to say
him.
that.
Respect.
Yeah.
My dad once, I remember the angriest my dad ever got was when I was singing, remember that Nelly song? I wanna lick you.
First of all, that's ludicrous.
Whatever. I was like 8 and singing, like belting that in the front yard, which is just funny. Yeah,
Oh boy.
literally as you were reading it, I was like, may God bless him with a gay son. But then he said he already had one. Also, coming out at 8 years old is wild.
That is,
Good for
very
the kid.
self-aware kid.
Sure.
Can you guys imagine this wife being like, oh yeah, I'm going to put my body through World War III a third time
Yeah.
Right.
just so you can maybe get a son, which isn't something that she can control at all. It's on him.
Also, you can have 2 gay kids. It happens.
It's true. You could also have a daughter.
That you can bond with about masculine things.
Right.
Yeah, another mark against him, I think, too, is characterizing what she's doing as overreacting, you know? Like,
Oh my God, right?
Like-
he wants son like me who like women. And then his wife's like, yeah, I'm not sure that's valid. He's like, you're overreacting.
Yeah, I'm not sure I want to spend the next 9 months like puking, gaining weight with my ankles swollen, like blah, blah, blah.
So you can have a vanity.
Exactly,
A
overreacting.
vanity
So
child.
you can like look at pictures of Megan Fox or whatever with your kid.
Yeah,
So
also
weird.
there's plenty of fathers with straight sons that get along terribly.
That's true.
Right.
Like you have no guarantee. What you want is maybe he had it with his father, maybe he didn't. Move on, figure out the relationship with someone else.
What if he does have a straight son who's like, yeah, my dad's like a total misogynist and weirdo?
Right. My dad's a piece
Yeah.
of shit.
Yeah.
Crystal C writes, is the quality of a father-son relationship really based on the types of genitals the son finds exciting? If your answer is anything other than no, then YTA.
Just gets to the bottom of just how fucking strange this is.
I don't know. I don't think you guys really understand how special the bond is between a father and son who both love hairy genitals.
Oh my God.
This guy's a freak, is what I'm gaining.
It's kinda-
YTF.
I think he might not have any friends either. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like, why would you? That's just so weird. Like, your kid. Like, first of all, you gotta spend 13 years where they're just not into women because they're
'Cause they're
having their
children.
puberty. They're
Oh, right.
children. It's so weird. Then I guess you get really 5 years because what, you can talk with like your 18-year-old son, like what's going on in college, bro?
Yeah, and also the 18-year-old is not going to be like, yeah, dad, I love pussy. Like by the time like the kid's going to be like 30 by the time you have an open conversation about anything like that.
Yeah.
Right. No.
Yeah, you
no,
like
no.
it? I like it too. He's like an old man.
Like
Ew.
I literally am having a son just because I'm excited for the birds and the bees talk. Get the fuck over yourself.
So
That is so
creepy.
weird.
It's weird.
Cody M writes, YTA. Also gross. Awfully bold of you to assume the world wants another you running
I
around.
love that.
Genevieve Ray says, as someone who has actually given birth, a third child is a lot to demand of your wife, especially when your reasoning is, quote, I want someone to watch sports and subjugate women with.
Yeah.
I kind of hope that this daughter ends up being gay.
This guy needs to join a fantasy football league or something. This
Yeah.
freaking loser. Like,
Or
Yeah.
I feel like he doesn't actually like masculine stuff. He's pretending.
Ooh,
You know?
projecting.
You know when there's like guys that are like, oh, you know me, I'm a man, and I'm like, no.
That's like, wait, do you watch
true.
Vanderpump?
Not religiously, but
Ugh,
yes.
Okay, that's like, there's this one girl on the show who has this like fiance, but he's really like her sugar daddy. He's like
Lala.
50, Lala, yeah.
Yeah.
And she's always like, yeah, my man loves my vagina because he's a man who loves ass and women. And I'm like, okay, I feel like the lady doth protest too much a little.
Yeah.
that sounds
That's
like
exactly
a
how I'm
robot
feeling.
that's trying to
She's-
fit in with humans.
Maybe.
He loves my vagina. Going back to this guy's character, like, I'm a guy's guy. Yeah, that's not a thing that guys say. Oh, yeah, I love football and wrestling. I'm a guy's guy. Like, that seems like this guy's trying so hard to find an identity.
Yeah, I'll agree. Anybody
he's
that
weird.
says that is off my list.
And it's a man's man, also, not a guy's
Is that
guy.
the expression?
I think so. I have friends who I'm like, you're a man's man.
I've never heard the female equivalent. I'm a woman's woman. It's
Yeah,
like,
what
no,
would
I
that
just
mean?
I get along with people of my own gender.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. What's
I
a
don't-
man? Also
it's
a
like-
man's man.
Yeah.
If someone's like, I'm a man's man, I'm like, okay, what are you doing later?
Richie Martin says, what path is it that you're walking down as a man that your gay son can't follow? Are you Genghis Khan?
So I don't get the historical reference.
Genghis
Yeah.
Khan impregnated, and I mean,
He also
raped.
used to like hang babies. Like,
Oh.
I do not understand.
Wow, they
that
did not cover that in
reference.
Mulan. Okay.
Yeah, they went easy on him in the old Mulan. So Genghis Khan is, I forget the number, but it may be 2%. Genghis Khan is like the great, whatever granddad of like 2% of people.
Whoa.
Because he like totally hooked up with a lot of chicks.
Wow.
Except it was more
See, he
pillaging.
would get along
it
with
was,
that
Yeah, it was
guy.
more
Yeah.
forcibly. I
Yep.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
was
think all the
much.
ladies were like, Genghis.
That would be great. Genghis Khan's like, two things: we conquer everyone and consent. Those are my.
Yeah.
Francie left this great comment of a dialogue, so I'm going to play the dad, and Chris is going to play the son. Hey, son, look over there. See that female? I used to crush pussy like that in high school. Son on his 117th push-up.
Yes, father. Tell me about all that seed of yours you banked in those sluts.
Hey. Well, son, their panties just couldn't get over the distance in which I threw a football as the all-star quarterback. Just something your old queer brother just wouldn't understand. Dad and son just flex at each other for the next 17 hours straight, muttering only a series of possibly aroused grunts. "Urgh,
And they're both named Kyle.
urgh, Kyle, my son, Kyle Jr. This guy is a loser. YTAL, I say. The deciding comment went to Whip It Shuffle on Reddit. YTA, your reasons for wanting to try for another kid are sexist. You make it sound like anyone but a straight male can't like sports, etc. And absolutely send the message to your other children that they are not enough for you. OP says, quote, I don't think she understands how special it is for a father to have a son who follows in his footsteps, unquote. Again, your existing son can't, your daughter can't. I'm calling BS. Unless your desire to put your D in a V is your literal only legacy, your kids can follow in your footsteps. Are you creative, entrepreneurial, athletic, curious, altruistic? There's more than liking women that you can pass on.
In this guy's defense, it does sound like putting a dick in a vagina is his only quality.
It's
Yeah.
all he
And
has.
hobby.
Can we cut him some slack,
Yeah.
guys?
Does he own like an auto mechanic's garage? I don't understand.
So I was curious about the dissenting comments, and you'll be happy to know almost none. I could only find like 2, and people hated them. One umbrella mob got negative 40 points, so nobody liked it. No assholes here. I think both you and your wife knew what you wanted from a son, and this clearly isn't it. It's not simply X and Y.
Huh? But then
What?
what does he think the X and Y are?
I don't know.
I'm confused.
Like you and your wife know what you wanted? I'm confused.
X and Y chromosomes?
It's not Build-A-Bear.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just build a baby.
Also, yeah, like gay people don't have different chromosomes.
Yeah, I don't know what. Well, I think what he's trying to say is like it's okay to have wants from your kids, but like I think that's sick. Like if you have
Yeah,
a
to
kid
try
and
to
you-
have more kids to get a certain quality that you can't control
Yes.
and is not objectively bad.
Yeah. Listen, if you have such a problem, yeah, then fucking get a bunch of millions of dollars, figure out what gene makes someone gay, spin it in a test tube and figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, I think parents in general who are like, it's pageant moms basically, but like it extends a whole bunch of other things. It's like your job is to like support your kid. You want them to have a good life. So that means, pushing them to get education. But like anything beyond that, that's like, you need to be a piano player. It's like, all right, well, calm down. There was one other no assholes here comment, negative 80 upvotes, and it basically said what everyone else is saying. Like it pretty much agreed with like what we're saying, but they just couldn't bring themselves to call OP an asshole.
People like to sometimes really be loose and fast with the definition of asshole. That came out wrong. And then sometimes, like with this person, it's like, oh, am I the asshole? Like, I murdered my wife's puppy and then slaughtered my entire family. And there will always be one person that's like, well,
Not to play devil's advocate.
yeah, it's like, well, I can't call you an asshole.
The
It's like,
dog did pee a lot.
Exactly. The dog shed all over the house.
So on the subject of AITA for wanting another child, I think we all agree, which is special. YTA.
YTA.
Yeah.
All right, folks, we're going to play a round of assholes at where we list all the assholes at a certain location, and our location is coffee shop.
The asshole who plays their music without headphones.
Criminal. This asshole's in a lot of locations. Hate this
Truly.
guy. Somebody just gonna get rid of him everywhere.
The asshole that's like on their phone the whole time
Mm-hmm.
Like in a group of people?
In a coffee shop.
in a coffee shop.
Why? I don't understand why he's
Having
just...
a
Like
Oh,
conversation
you're
on
saying
the phone.
he's on a
Like
phone
loudly,
call.
like loudly talking on the phone.
Oh, I hate those people. Yeah, I think that goes into a general class of assholes who are just running their business from the coffee shop.
Yeah.
If you have 2 computers, a notebook, and a binder, it's like, get a WeWork, homie.
Yeah.
Or the people who invite you for a business meeting at the coffee shop and then it's like their Amway pitch.
The people that sit with like 5 computers and have like a water.
Yeah.
Oh, those people are dicks.
And I'm like, I need to sit down.
What about the guy who, like, you finally got your perfect cozy spot in the corner on the soft couch, the great spot, nobody's there because you came super early, and then he sits right next to you.
I hate anybody that sits directly next to me when they don't have to.
Okay, what about the person who's taking up like a 4-person table and it's just them?
The person that like spends way too much time in the bathroom.
What are you doing in there?
Like my friend worked at a coffee shop once and there was someone in the bathroom for like 2 full hours.
Oh
doing
my
what?
And
God.
the line was crazy and they were banging on the door and they literally had to call the cops because they were afraid something had happened. And they opened the door and it was Amanda Bynes doing her makeup.
Stop.
Isn't that wild?
That's amazing.
And they were like, "What are you doing?" Like with that, and she's like, I had my headphones in.
So I guess she's really bad at makeup.
I mean, this was when she
She's-
was like going
It's
through
not
it.
Holy
really
shit.
together for her. What about the people who are like acting like it's a bar and having like a loud, boisterous conversation? It's like,
It's
guys,
annoying.
it's 11 a.m.
Or the people that like are looking. There's like the creeps that are like watching porn.
Ew.
What
Really?
coffee shop do you go to?
It happened.
It's an unlisted one.
Like I remember when I was in college, there was a coffee shop with a sign that said "No porn on the wall" because this guy would like
Oh
come do
my
that.
God.
Oh, people are creepy.
For
It's
the-
almost creepier, I think, to watch porn and not masturbate. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you getting out
Yeah.
of it? Ugh.
I like the plot.
The plot. I love the dialogue. What about there's people who like order really unnecessarily complicated stuff?
Ugh, the worst.
When somebody was like, "Can you get me a cappuccino?" Like a friend when I was going, I was like, "Sure." And then she was like, "Okay, soy milk, like an extra tall soy skinny latte at 135 degrees."
No.
And that was when I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
135
How can
degrees.
you taste the degrees? Come on.
Like I'm not going to ask them that.
Insane.
And you know what? She didn't know when I brought it back,
and
I
it was
did not do that.
136 degrees.
Oh, it's off.
Like why?
It tastes burnt. I don't know what's going on.
Oh my God.
It's too hot.
What about the people who leave their plates and their glasses
No.
when they're done?
Yeah, that's annoying.
That's the worst.
There's no busser, people. Wake up.
No,
Wake up, sheeple.
I was at fucking TJ Maxx today and I was watching this employee yell at a woman
Oh my
for
God.
putting her things on like a shelf. He was like, just a reminder, we put it to a cashier, not in the wrong place. And I was like, okay, you gotta calm down.
Well, TJ Maxx is a hellscape. So
Yeah.
I hate TJ
Oof.
Maxx. That is a trash store that's not organized.
I had to go to
It's
there
not.
and Marshall's today, and it is
Oh.
devastating.
goodness.
AITA, if I effed over a troll. I am a journalist, and naturally there are times my articles make me a target for online hate. Usually trolls stick around for just a couple of days, maybe weeks, but I never engage with them, so they usually go away and search for another woman to harass. Except for one troll who had been sending me emails for almost a year. Although the emails were always sent from different accounts, they were pretty easy to identify. They would always start with an odd word search puzzle and included words like bitch and whore. How much time does this guy have on his hands?
A lot.
And then he would go on to send me some links to conspiracy theory YouTube videos. Now, for some reason, this troll used his work email in his last email. What's insane is that his place of business is a legit, reputable organization. Like, this guy isn't some fringe weirdo annoying me from his mom's basement. He's a respected member of his community with actual influence. I decided to contact his boss and forward him all the emails I've been receiving. His boss responded that he was going to act appropriately, so he got fired. Yes, it feels good to get revenge, but I can't help but feel bad about it. I mean, yes, this guy is a dick, but perhaps I went overboard by getting involved in his real life and messing with his well-being. Who knows what he was going through? Did I overstep AITA?
Ugh. Ma'am, no.
No, yeah.
Guys, I can't stop thinking about this guy created word searches. How much do you hate women that you're like, well, here's a puzzle that's
He's like,
misogynistic?
women aren't smart.
Like, what?
Yeah, no, fuck that guy.
Who has the time?
I don't think anybody would agree that she is an asshole.
No, of
No.
course not.
But it makes me feel so bad that she has like even would think that she was being an asshole in this situation.
I think there's something to that that's really interesting. Like, can we dig in and ask why does she feel guilty? I think there is something.
Do you watch the news?
Yes.
I mean, literally, there are women who will be like, yeah, so this guy dragged me behind a dumpster and raped me. And people are like, oh my God, how could you ruin his life? He's a good guy. And it's like,
Oh, okay. So you think it is?
this is this on a smaller scale.
You think
Yeah.
it's a woman thing?
Yeah, and like a
Okay.
guilty thing. I feel guilty about things all the time, even when I know I'm right.
There is something about the internet that it's like, well, it's just the internet, and like this is his real life. Like this man, could have kids or whatever.
Yeah, but
She
he's calling her, a whore.
Yeah. And she probably also values her safety. I'm not saying that you're saying
I'm not
this.
justifying. I'm saying, why does she have this guilt? I think part of it is like generally I'm a guilty person because I was raised Catholic, so that's just
Same.
how that goes. But I think there is something like counterintuitive about it where it's like, well, it's just the internet. It's just ones and zeros.
No.
Yeah, you
She's
can-
not coding anything.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's like an ingrained, I think, guilt in women.
It's like, this guy tried to murder me and I went to the cops, AITA, for ruining his life. No.
No, but I don't feel like you guys are hearing my point at all.
I do
think-
get
I
what
think
you're
we
saying.
are 100%.
but we're just
hearing
I don't
not
feel
agreeing
heard.
with
I wasn't
it.
calling her a coder, Chris. I'm saying that like I know internet stuff is real stuff. So why is there something intuitive about the fact that this is disproportionate? I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying I feel like she thinks that on some level. I don't think this is all about the fact that she's a woman. Either.
Okay, I do think in internet culture, there are, in some spaces, there's a thing like you don't want to dox people. You don't go real life on people. Like, so I'm in a lot of like,
There we go.
I'm in a lot of secret Facebook groups where you shame people for stuff. It's fucking great. I'm a really nice person. I'm fun at parties. Like, we like to shame people's weddings. I'm in one of those. I talk about it all the time. One of the rules in the group is that you don't go real life on someone. If
Right.
someone posts about something that you've seen, or like you don't try to search the words in their post to find the post and then message them. Like, if they find out you do that, you're banned from the group.
Okay, wait. So hold on. You're basically telling me that people in this whole group insult someone because they're all shaming them. Do they censor the names at least?
They take out the names, they
Okay.
blur the faces, they put like an emoji over the face, they get rid of identifying details. You're just like, oh, these people had a Confederate flag themed wedding, or like, ew, why did you have a camo wedding dress? That kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, I could just say, all right, well, Sarah, you shamed someone and maybe they find the post. They know it's them. So now you are essentially doing what the troll did. And the only difference is that it's you and a bunch of people doing it.
Well, first of all, I never post. I just lurk. I would like that to be known.
Also, though, Sarah like trolling someone for having a Confederate themed wedding, and this guy DMing a woman calling her a slut and a whore from different accounts is different.
I also think if I shame someone's wedding every day for a year to them personally, they would have the right to like seek consequences. Facebook groups are weird and they're kind of wrong, and it's just like
it's kind of
socially sanctioned bullying.
Of a group of bullying. Obviously, if they're a Confederate flag, yes. But
yeah,
I'm saying,
we all screenshot weird
Sarah
shit.
has leaked some of these posts to me, and they're not all. Some of them, she's in some freaky groups you guys don't even want to know about. But
okay,
they're not all criminals or racist. Some are like people forcing their bridesmaids to wear green dresses.
See, that's mean. That's like assholey.
Yeah,
I'm here for exposing people for doing bad stuff. I don't think that necessarily makes you a bully. I think the person would think that they are because they're being defensive.
I mean, look, but if someone, so say you do this in one of your groups and it's this girl has a really ugly dress, okay? She didn't do anything bad. I'm not saying you would actually do this.
Sure.
And so say someone who works on a digital media company is like, oh, her brown dress, it looks like shit. So she has shit taste. Ha, 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 ha. And then this person discovers that and goes, oh my God, this is my post of my beautiful brown wedding dress. I don't know why they're insane. Wedding dress. And they report this person because their name is on the comment.
I think that's fine. Like people have, when you're doing stuff online with your username and you're representing yourself, there are consequences to whatever the fuck you're going to say. Like,
yes, in that situation, Sarah would be an asshole and they would have the right to be like, you're being an asshole. But Sarah's not going to get fired from her job for saying someone has an ugly wedding dress. It's all.
I could not. It would kind of depend.
The degree to this is way different than like talking shit about someone's dress online.
Yeah, I mean, I think in this case, the fact that it is directly emailed shows that the intent is to actually hurt this person's feelings.
Whereas, and possibly intimidate them.
Yes. Whereas shaming someone is like, well, we're literally just making fun of you. Like you're a little fun factory.
Like I'm being a dick, but I'm not going to hurt you.
Well, and it's not about you. It's anonymized. So like it's intentionally made to not hurt your feelings so that you won't find out.
Yeah. Like I'm sure people screenshot shit of me and I'm like, thank you for the free press. But if I'm getting DMs being like, I'm going to fucking kill your fat ass, I would be like, okay, now I'm concerned.
Now, I thought we could go that way with it. I'm curious, I know there's a lot of reply guys. Sarah's getting heckled. I even got...
happened one time. I'm okay. But yeah.
Moderately heckled. I'm curious, do you get a lot of reply guys, negative comments, stuff like that?
I have gotten things, but nothing. I mean, I've got like one time I got one that was like really bad. That was like, you're a disgrace. Your parents must want like you dead on a thing and blah, blah, blah.
Oh my gosh.
And like this whole long thing. And this was like probably a year and a half ago. And that one I was like, okay, that's a lot. But otherwise it's like little things. And whatever.
Are they, you say little things, so these are not like bigoted things or just like you're not funny, like standard comedian?
Yeah, or they'll be like the fucking guy from
Chad from The Bachelorette. That show was so good.
I wrote a scathing thing about him.
Because this guy is like, I told you, he's roid rage personified.
Okay.
Truly.
And
this is a person on the show.
A person who's on The Bachelor, who was on like 3 seasons ago.
Yeah.
He's not on anymore. He went on this Twitter rampage where he was just insulting every single person in the franchise and stuff that didn't even make sense.
And when he got kicked off the show the second time because there's a woman on it who has one arm and he like told her to fuck off and called her a one-armed bitch. And like all of this crazy shit. And so I wrote an article on him going crazy. And then he tweeted at Betches being like, I was wondering how anyone could be so stupid to write that. And then I looked up the writer and I was like, oh. And I was like, honestly, that's like meaner than actually coming for me. But also like I did write a terrible shit about him. And again, thank you for the press. But not really,
because you were just observing the terrible shit that he was already doing.
Right.
And he could have at least tagged you. Like, come on.
Yeah, that was what was fucked up.
So, well, that's good to hear. I mean, you're kind of painting a different picture. I mean, every woman I've had on the show, we've talked about this. I feel like it's pretty rough out there, at least, sorry, ladies, but apparently things are not so bad for gay men.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely worse for women in the way of the internet and harassment.
I haven't been harassed that much, knock on wood, but yeah, I feel like
like general, Elise gets a lot of like people would comment on Elise's video like I hate the girl with the weird bangs and shit like that.
People don't say that stuff about men. People, I was telling Danny this, like people, especially other women, like will have just the most pointed physical insults and they only direct them at women. Like you would never say to a man like, oh, your teeth are weird. Or like, oh, you have a strange hairline.
Okay, I'll confess to this.
Here
Sometimes
we go.
when I see a really hot girl and I'm like mad, like she's so hot, you know, like I'm just like, oh God, she's so perfect. And I want to talk, like it's like a crazy thing because I'm like, I'm so attracted to her, but like there's nothing I can do with that. It makes no sense. So then my mind is like, well, neg her, like find it. And I don't say anything. And so then I look at her and I find some flaw and I'm like, oh God, her teeth. Like she has a freckle under her ear. That's so gross.
See, and girls know that. I feel like a
They
lot
can
of
read my
girls
thoughts?
no, I feel like a lot of girls know
Yes.
that when
No.
See, that was happening with a girl in the office the other day, and she said that this guy said there was like her and her two friends, and he was like beautiful, beautiful, to her.
Are you
Oh,
serious?
God.
And
Mona Lisa Saperstein? Oh my God.
And I was like, no, he's nagging you. Like he wanted you
Yes.
to turn around
Yeah.
and converse
Yes.
with him.
Well, I mean, that's all in my head. I'm
That's
a
like an
good boy.
insecurity thing.
But
I
what
feel
I'm
like.
more intrigued by, yeah, it's an insecurity
Because you're just
thing.
trying to cut someone down a peg so that
Exactly.
they could be on your level.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
and I do it with, I can name 10 other examples, but I won't because I don't want everyone to know
Danny,
how
oh
much
my
of a piece of
God.
shit I am.
Ugh.
No, well, I mean, I do with other things too, you know, if like I'm intimidated by someone, I'm like, well, you know, their tweets are hacky. It's like ridiculous, but I'm an insecure monster. But my question to you
my
that
God.
I don't fully understand is that women, because I always think of it as angry boys who are like, well, yeah, you're not funny. But what's more interesting to me is why are women coming at women online? Yeah, I don't think we've really
For the
talked
same
about that
reason,
much.
jealousy. And
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, I've literally gotten trolled 2 times. Once was by a man yesterday. Once was by an Instagram burner account. But going off the content of the insults, I'm pretty convinced it was a woman.
Equality.
Yeah. So, like, I'm not the right person to ask.
Yeah.
Please don't troll me.
Crystal C, we're going back to the situation, guys, if we lost the thread here. She says, NTA, he still harassed you in real life. Internet harassment is still real life. It's not a parallel universe.
Yeah, that's what I agree. It's not like it's a safe space. You're coming for someone specifically. You're going out of your way to find their contact info and go do it from multiple burner email addresses and all this weird ass shit. Like, come on, dude.
Genevieve Rice says, NTA, if he was dumb enough to commit crimes using his work email, he deserved to be fired. I would go to the police too.
he's using his work email. Yes, he deserved to be fired.
Okay,
And
I
then
think
some.
just to play a little devil's ad here.
Oh, boy.
No.
I know that. Look, I've gotten a death threat online, and it didn't scare me at all because it's like this guy's full of shit. But I feel like women get very afraid, and like you guys were onto that right away. You were like, "Oh, this is intimidating," right?
Yes.
So like, is that just because women in general are subject to more violence, so it seems much
Yes.
more plausible?
Yes. Like, have you watched the news?
Yeah, and just like, yes, it happens. People actually do get murdered. You should have been scared.
I wasn't scared at all.
Honestly, I fucking would. Even if
guess I
I
was
didn't
scared.
think it was real, it's like you're probably scared for a little bit. You should have consequences. If you're going to do something so heinous as to threaten to murder someone because they made a video about your hometown and you didn't like it or whatever, like, yes, you should face
Okay,
consequences for that.
I just remembered that one, and that one scared me a lot more. So the first one was I made a video saying the Boston bombing conspiracy theories were false, and it was like a really long. It was also really long. I was like, no one who writes an
That
email
was
this
the
long
crime.
is going to kill me. But I got a YouTube comment, and it was just like, if you ever come back, this is when I made fun of my hometown, and it was like, if you ever come back here, you're going to get your neck wrung. And I was like, whoa.
Well, see, also though, a YouTube comment and an email are very different.
Yeah, an email should have scared me
That's why that
more.
stuff scares me. It's like, oh, you went out of your way to find a
You
way to
found
contact
me.
me. Like, I used to write for Bustle, and people would just email me, but I was like a lifestyle writer. I wrote fluff pieces. I would aggregate Reddit threads, and people would get mad at me. And I'm like, look, I didn't write the content in the thread. I literally just
that's
collected
so funny.
all
They don't
this
even
shit.
understand what they're reading.
Yeah, it's stupid. And yet you're dumb, but also smart enough to like go out of your way to figure out how to contact me. Like, sir, why? That's what's scary.
It's
like,
the
oh.
direct content.
Yeah.
Or contact that's the scary thing.
AITA, if I effed over a troll, we all agree, not even a question. Big fat NTA.
Not in the slightest.
All right, guys, well, we're just going to wrap up on some banter, just open conversation, whatever.
Free play.
Free play. Well, I have a great therapist. That's, I guess, all I have really going on. I got a good therapist.
I'm proud
I
of
had
you.
Therapy today. She's killing it. You know, big plug here for phone therapy. Super convenient. I call her. It's great. I get what I want, which is someone to listen. That's really all I need. I don't need this face-to-face nonsense, and she's a great listener. We use FaceTime audio. A little plug there for the iPhone. Have you guys heard of it?
No.
No, I
Yeah.
only have the 7.
Oh, poor Sarah. Yeah. So, but no, it was she's good. She's like an art therapist, which initially I was like, art therapy? That sounds like bullshit.
Oh boy.
But she does conventional therapy and she encourages me to be more creative. And yeah, it's good.
I feel like you could just play her this episode of the podcast. You skip like 4 sessions ahead.
Oh, yeah. If I could just get her to listen to the pod, I don't have to
Literally.
explain as much. That'd
If
be
you're like,
great.
yeah, so I have insecurity issues and I just cut people down in my head, she'll be like, okay. And then you'll skip in progress.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna write that down right now. Tell
right.
therapist about cutting people down.
Danny's really writing, fuck
constantly.
you, Sarah.
Yeah, fuck Sarah for being judgmental. Her Instagram followers are bots.
And then she'll charge you for listening to the pod.
Oh boy,
Oh,
I can't
you're
afford
right.
that.
I've never been to a
Patreon
therapist.
subscriber, but reverse.
You've never been to a therapist, Chris?
No, wouldn't you think?
Oh my God, you need to practice good mental hygiene.
I know, I really do.
A lot of people, and I was one of these people, so I don't want to judge you because I don't know your status. But I used to think like, oh, I'm above therapy. I don't need it.
No, it's
I
not
don't
even
need it.
that. It's I grew up like we just didn't like it wasn't a thing that people went to therapy. My mom like they were like therapies for losers. But like living here, I think I'm like the only person I know that hasn't seen
Yeah.
a therapist.
Literally, everyone in New York is like, so my therapist, blah, 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 blah. Can you believe this shit that my therapist said?
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
And I'm
It's
like,
crazy.
I know myself and I'll like either fall in love with my therapist and it'll all go downhill or I don't know. I'll get there.
I have had like minor, like affectionate thoughts on a full fall in love, but I had a friend who fell in love with a therapist and I got it. And then I was like, oh my God, that means she's a good therapist because I feel like we're really connected.
Yeah, it's called transference. It's pretty normal, right?
Yeah.
What is transference?
When you just like fall in love with your therapist.
Because they're
because-
listening to you
Yeah, and you guys are like emotionally close, but it's really only one direction.
and you're paying.
Yeah.
It's common.
I think she likes me a little bit.
She
I'm really funny.
told me I looked nice the other day.
No, I'm different. Like she I'm now falling in love with a female therapist.
There you
But
go.
I'm like
Yeah, I wanted a woman. I knew that because I'd had 2 guys before, and I just felt like they couldn't listen that well.
My friend actually my male friend who is studying or studies psychology tried to convince me that I should try to find a male therapist because he was like, it would be good for you to like form a healthy relationship with a man. I'm like, first of all, my dad and I are fine.
Right.
But also male therapists are a lot harder to find.
I want like an old woman.
Like a grandma.
Yeah.
I want like one of my friends who just happens to have a degree in psychology.
Why do you want an old woman?
I've always gotten along with old women. And I feel like not like old, but like 70. See, and now she's gonna retire and abandon me, and here we are.
All right. How dare you? 70 is a new 30.
Well, let's hope so, because I'm 67. Just kidding.
Let's talk a little bit. We talk a lot about restaurant stuff on the pod, less now than we used to. But you worked at a restaurant, so hit us with some restaurant hits, baby. Tell us about the worst
The hits.
customers. You
Oh,
know,
there's just so many. Honestly, I haven't worked there in a month now,
it's all behind you.
and it really feels like it is. I don't think about it ever.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
I mean, I think about it. I am still close with a lot of people that I worked at the same place for 7 years. But like most of the people I like grew close to have moved on. So I kind
Okay.
of felt like the like mother hen. And now these are all like children that I don't know. And I was just like, I don't care. And when I was like going full time, my mom was like, is it like bittersweet? I'm like, no, it's really not at all. I really don't care
That's great.
because the people I care about. And I mean, yeah, there's been terrible people and like terrible celebrities. And I've like handmade like
Can you tell us
fruits.
one celebrity that's bad?
I waited on Nick Jonas like every single day for like 2 years.
What?
And he was fine, but he would always leave his like diabetes lancet. Is that what it's called?
Huh?
Like
I
where
have
you
no
check your
idea.
blood, like the little paper,
Ooh, gross.
because he has like diabetes and he has to
At
check
the
his
table?
blood. Yeah, and he would leave the paper there every
And it
day.
has
Ah.
blood on it?
Yeah,
Ew.
Ew, that's like a biohazard.
and I'd be like, that can't be right.
Nick.
And Joe was also there a lot and very nice.
Oh, that's good. Makes me
Was he
happy.
a good tipper?
They were fine.
Okay.
Like 20%. That's the
Standard.
thing with famous people. If they don't tip extraordinarily well, you're like, ugh,
Because you know they have the money.
what's his name? Who's the Australian guy from 300? Gerard Butler.
Yes. Is he an
He
asshole?
tipped like 8%.
8?
Yeah.
Criminal.
I'm not shocked. He just seems like a douche.
Hilary Swank came drinking water out of like a backpack. You know those?
Like a
Oh,
camelback.
God,
Yeah, yeah. And I was like, what are you doing?
Like, why?
Sarah Bareilles, who I like love very much, I like told her I loved her. And then I fucked up her order.
Oh.
But she didn't say anything. But then as I was standing, I was like, I fucked that up. But she didn't say anything. And then she hugged me when she left and said, it was so nice to meet you.
Oh, yay.
And I was like, oh my God, I love you
Oh my
so
God.
much.
Wait,
Everybody
how-
go see Waitress.
What kind of mess up did you do to your order that just flew?
She like got no cheese, whatever. I was an amazing server. Let's be clear. Okay. I have very few skills. Being an amazing server is one of them. But I got nervous and fucked her order. And then my roommate got me tickets to Waitress so I had seen it already. And then she got me tickets, like surprise tickets for my birthday to see Sarah Bareilles. And it was the one show that she missed.
No.
And I was
She
like,
was like,
back.
that guy Chris is going to be there.
Oh, guess you're not going to get what you
Yeah.
ordered. Sorry.
That's true.
So wait, tell us about some nightmares. Because like we always talk about. I mean, Sarah just had an incident with the lady and the Beats lady, and there's got to be some real monsters.
I mean, there's been so many. I feel like it's like hard to even
Blurs together.
Yeah, really. I've been called. I worked in customer service at a grocery store in Albany from like 17 to like 22 when I moved here, and that I mean is like people saying I'm gonna wait for you outside because
Oh, God.
like their check bounced because they're trying to cash their check.
Oh no.
We all just kind of have this mentality of like, well, fuck off. Like there was no part of me that was ever like scared back then. Like the store got robbed and I was in the back room
Oh my
counting
God.
down tills. And it was like the glass that's a mirror to the outside. I didn't
Oh,
even
thank
see what was
God.
going on because I
Oh
was
my God.
like
funny.
listening to music and counting down tills, and then come like out whistling, and the cops are there, and they're
Oh,
like,
shit.
"We got robbed."
Oh, shit.
I don't know. I feel like doing all of that though is like the reason why I have a thicker skin towards things now. Because now when people complain, they're like, "Oh my God, I'm so stressed because my cousin didn't call me back." I'm like, "Get a fucking grip."
Oh, man. That's wild.
Any tips for the straights?
I
don't know.
Yeah, try it out. Don't be a asshole.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to do on the pod is figure it out and try not to be TA.
Yeah, and don't like if you think you are being an asshole, like apologize one time. It's when like straight people over apologize, and I'm like, it's fine.
Oh, really? Oh,
Do
I
you-
think I'm an over apologizer.
Because then I'm like, why are you still like? Let's just move on.
Got it. Okay, one apology is good.
I mentioned have been watching too much Housewives, so everything I feel like is skewed in my brain, where I'm like thirsty for drama. So
So you're going to get mad at someone for apologizing because you want drama?
yeah, literally.
You know what? I actually do have one more thing. Can I get a direct answer from you about what would you say? Because I used to hear this premise all the time at the open mics that, oh, I wish I were gay. What would you say to a straight guy who says that?
I probably wouldn't say anything. I would just write them off in my book forever. Like I would just never book them to do anything for me and always have a bad taste in my mouth about them. Because when they're like, I wish I was gay, I'm like, shut the fuck up. If I said I wish I was black, that's like a fucked up thing to say.
Oh, yeah, that sounds so much worse.
Like, no, you don't know what that is to be wishing that. Is that fucked up for me to say? Like, I'm not trying to compare, but like, that's
No,
like
not at
you
all.
just never wish to be any minority if you don't know what it is.
I think that's fair.
Oh, Chris, tell these people where to find you. We mentioned your Instagram at Fat Carrie Bradshaw.
Yes, sir.
Is there anywhere else you'd like to tell them to find you?
My Insta at Fat Carrie Bradshaw, my Twitter at Fat Carrie Bradshaw, my podcast at Everyone's Gay, and I guess that's enough plugging for me.
Great. Well, Chris, it's been a pleasure having you. Thank you so much.
It's been a
Hope you've
pleasure.
Had fun.
Oh, thank you. I wish I were straight.
How dare you? All right, guys. Well, that's it for the show, and we will see you next Monday.